Welcome back. Welcome back. What's happening? Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant here, helping you to account for your life. And today on the podcast, winning the battle against the enemy within. We're going to talk about this. We're going to decode this, but we're going to look at the fact that the enemy is right where we can find him. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 15 really quick and set the stage for the enemy. In Genesis chapter 2, in verse 15, here's what it says. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. So he gave the man an assignment, just like he gives you and I an assignment to do it. And then the Lord God commanded the man and let him know, you are free to eat from every or any tree in the garden. So he gives the man, he gives us everything we need, says, this is all you can have. We can have everything. But then he also says in verse 17, but you must not do one thing. You must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat of it, from it, you will certainly die. Today, we're going to look at the enemy from within, and the fact that what this story, this Genesis, this beginning is telling us is that you don't have to look outside for the enemy. You don't have to look to the White House. You don't have to look to all the circumstances. You don't have to look to anything to find your biggest problem or your biggest situation, and God placed it right where we could find it within us. So I hope you are ready today to get into this enemy. And I'm going to share with you just kind of how I'm dealing with the enemy, because the enemy is certainly after all of us. And I'm telling you, the enemy is after me as well. So I want to thank you for joining me. And this podcast, the Account for Life podcast, what is this about? This podcast is all about your life. Your life. It starts with, your mind. It starts with, how you treat your body. We're talking about getting control over our body right now, because when you get control over your body, then, you can probably have better finances. You probably have a bigger business. You can probably have a better situation at home, or, get the wife of your dreams, the husband of your dreams. When we control one thing, the physical body. So guys, I appreciate you being here. I want to just, introduce our sponsor today. Our sponsor today is in a book. It's written by a guy named Jay Moore, and it's Next Level Faith. You can find this book on Amazon. You can find all my books on Amazon. Beyond Freedom, Beyond Tax Strategy, which we're going to be talking about going beyond very soon. We're going to be talking about next level, living life on the next level. But it all starts here, having Next Level Faith. I recently sent out a number of free copies to individuals, as I dedicated the book to my mom as she passed. And I got a note back from someone just recently. I'm going to read the note before we get started. Just want to let you know what you can expect when you read this book. One of my best friends, his mother, Mrs. Peace, she says, "Hello, Jay. I hope your next level faith is carrying you through your valley experience at this time. The day I received your book in the mail, I opened it and stood at the kitchen sink and read chapter 1. It was so captivating, and so goes the rest of the book. I love the reality depicted in each chapter. Living real life experiences makes the book relatable. Thank you so much. At any age, we need to exercise and build on next level faith." This is coming from Helen Peace, a really good friend of mine's mother, and she read the book. So that's why I can tell you this book is as simple as this book is as short as this 93 pages is. You can have a next level faith moment reading that book and understanding some relatable things. All right, so let's get into this enemy. Who is the enemy, guys? Now, here's the thing. We read the chapter, we read the story. They talk about there was the serpent in the garden. They talk about how there's the devil in the garden. They talk about, how Eve was tempted. And, we get into the esotericness of the story, which, at the end of the day, guys, I just believe these stories are here to help us to find something. What are the stories leading us to find? Stories are leading us to find ourselves. Why did you get sent to earth? You were dispatched here. We were placed here. Because remember, this body, we only have this body because we're here on the earth. And the earth requires this type of body. Do I think there's other earths? I don't know. But they probably don't look like us. They probably look different. Just like our creator does not look like us. When you see the creations of men, the creations that men create don't look like them as much as they would like to clone themselves. That's not, they probably can do something similar to that stuff, but the creations that men do is stuff like cell phones, it's stuff like, I got this keyboard here. I've got this ring light over here. I've got this bookshelf right here. So the things that men create, we just create stuff because, we're creative. We're creative. So when we're thinking about why we were dispatched here, what if, I want you to answer this question. What if you were dispatched here to solve one of the biggest problems in your life? What if you were dispatched here to solve a big problem in your life that can then help 10, 20, 100, thousands of people, millions maybe? What if you were dispatched here for that purpose? Proverbs 19:21 says this: many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purposes that prevail. There's another proverb that says, oh my goodness, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. There's another proverb where it talks about, man comes up with the plan, but God orders the steps. Paraphrased. God orders the actual steps. So when we come up with a plan, this invisible plan to become this person, the steps are ordered by our creator. So the creator had to do something to ensure that his plans, when you do the plan correctly, you get there. He had to place the enemy right in a place where you couldn't miss it. And he had to tell you about the enemy. He didn't say, he told Adam, he told the man. Actually, it says man. He told the man, which meant he told male and female, listen, there's this over here. There's this tree over here. Don't go over there. Don't eat it because that's going to mess you up. So he had to tell him about it. So where's the tree today? Is the tree in Africa? Is the tree in California? Is the tree in Russia or Asia? Is the tree in China? Is the tree in Taiwan? Is the tree in Canada? Is the tree in Greenland? Is the tree in South America, Brazil? Where's the tree? The tree in India? Where is the tree? The tree in Trinidad and Tobago? Is the tree in Jamaica? Where is the tree? Where is the tree? Is the tree in Maryland where I live? Where's the tree? Is it Virginia? Where's the tree in New Jersey? Where's the tree in Florida? Where is it? Is the tree in Hawaii? Where's the tree? Come on now. Where is the tree? Because the tree is still active. The tree is still here. Listen, we don't gotta get all, bougie and talk about the devil. Because I'm going to share with you right now where the devil's at. Well, no, I already told you. The devil's within you. The enemy is within you and me. I found him. I found the enemy. All right, so look. This morning I wake up. wake up to go to the gym. Always do. Enemy jammed me up, right? I don't know how my watch, my smart watch, all of a sudden it's an hour slow. I'm like, how did it become an hour slow? I'm looking at the time, it's like 6:00. Oh, but it was 7:00. I'm like, what? I'm like, what in the world? How did my time go back on my watch? So first thing's like, now you're late. Don't go. Enemies telling me not to go. Okay. Then I wake up, my body is sore. I'm sore. My legs are sore. My neck is sore. I'll get into the neck in a second. My neck is sore. I feel like because my neck is sore, I feel like I'm getting a headache. I'm like, what is happening? The enemy's like, man, you just need to sit down and chill. No. So I'm going to the gym. I get to the gym. I'm sitting there. I'm in the car. I'm not getting out. Enemy's like, man, it's late because now it's after 7:30. I'm supposed to record my podcast. I'm supposed to get on there. He said, man, you don't have enough time. He said, don't go in there. Don't go. Man, your neck is hurting anyway. Body is sore. And the enemy the whole time is telling me, it's not giving me any good data. The enemy is not telling me, hey, this is going to be good. Hey, let's go anyway. Hey, you're going to have something even better to say. Hey, the enemy's not helping. The enemy is telling me not to go. But I remembered something. I says, man, what am I supposed to do in here today? I've caught some videos. I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with the sore neck right over here, neck over here. And I've been seeing a chiropractor recently. And going to the chiropractor, he's asking me questions in the beginning, and I'm telling him some things. And we got to part of the conversation where I shared with him that some years ago, I used to turn my neck and crack my neck all the time. It felt good. And he says, oh, he says, the thing about that is, yeah, you was giving yourself an adjustment, and you may have been adjusting something that didn't need adjusting. And so he was just like, yeah, that's more than likely why you're here. Now, I felt like I was there because, man, I was sleeping wrong. So the sleep has been messed up. And he was like, no. He says it was the cracking of the neck. So I'm seeing the chiropractor, and that's kind of helping. But then I saw some videos in my Instagram or Facebook Reels, whichever one it was. Oh my goodness, all that stuff is addictive, but I'm glad I saw it. And they were talking about hanging from a bar. Like, instead of doing pull-ups, just hang from the bar. That's hard. Just hanging, you're holding your body weight up. I'm 210 pounds. Like, that's not easy. And so I'm hanging, and it says, when you can hang for a minute or a couple of minutes or a few minutes, even if you can't do it straight, just keep doing it. You're going to notice a change. Do you know, I think I was off and on hanging on that bar. That's the main thing I was doing. I did some pull-ups here and there, but mainly hanging. Do you know, after about 20 minutes or so of that, it's like, I was like, that helped not just my neck and my back. Felt like it my legs. I did a few more exercises and got out of the gym. And I was like, man, I feel so much better. But remember, the enemy said, don't go. The enemy said, because you're sore, it's probably best not to go. The enemy said, because you're late, it's best not to go. The enemy said, look, man, it's not worth it, man. Just, you're tired. Stay in the bed. Relax. Don't do it. See, winning the battle against the enemy is to know that there is one, and it's you. It's you. It's you trying to take you from where you want to be, where you would like to go, what you would like to experience. Guys, like, think about it. You want to experience a certain part of life, but here's the thing: to experience a certain part of life, there's gonna be pain. Let's hang out right at the pain level right now. And I know that I've shared this quote that I shared with my son many years ago. I will do what's best for me, even when it feels like pain, because pain is an indication that something's happening. Now, here's the thing though. There could be good pain. There could be bad pain. We got to know the difference between good and bad pain. When you work out and your muscles are sore, that's good pain. When I realize there's something going on with my neck, that's not good pain. I need to see somebody. Hey, I need to do something that's going to fix that. So we got to know the difference between good and the bad pain. Most of us get stuck on the good pain. Here's all the good pains. Man, I started a business, man. I couldn't get any customers. Pain, good pain. I started working out and I had pain, good pain. Hey, I got married and all of a sudden things kind of got weird. It just seems like, now just, we're bumping heads. Oh yeah, it's good pain because now you're really getting to know each other. I really would like to be married, but it's just painful. I just can't seem to find the right one. That's good pain because one, we have to prepare ourselves for the thing that we desire the most. We have to be the embodiment. When I think about some of the things that I deal with in my life, I'm just like, I've got to be better. I've got to be so good. Like when I think about myself, I have to be so much more for me that when I just keep it to marriage. My wife looks at me. She's looking at me like, I can't believe I'm with that guy. I can't believe that this is what I was given. I have to get, not because of anything that I say, but because of what she feels. But I have to do better for me. Last night, I think I told her I wasn't feeling good, but I was just being funny. Deep down inside, I probably wasn't feeling good. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, man, we're all dealing with this enemy. So how? Many of you are going to want to know how. So how do I win the battle? How do I win the fight? How do I win the war? All right. The thing about the fight, the battle, and the war, they're all different. They're all different. Right? They're all different. The battle. Let's stay with the battle in a minute. The battle. You'll never come out of the battle. There's always going to be a battle happening. Because the thing about a battle is that you got many of them. Just like a fight. You've got many fights. But we got to figure out, well, wait a second. What am I fighting for? I'm going into battle, but what am I fighting for? So to understand, once we go into battle, what am I actually fighting for? What am I actually fighting for? What's at stake if I lose this battle? Because it just gets worse. It just gets worse because you think if we don't know what we're fighting for, we don't know how we're going to win that battle, we're dead in war, because war is just going to take everything from us. The war it's like the ultimate. Once we know what we're fighting for, it's kind of like when we think of our lives. I want you to think of your life. I want you to think of the struggles that you've had. Guys, financial struggles, marital. I've had marital struggles. Like even today, like when I say marital struggles, look, at the end of the day, man, you're going to be in disagreements. They're going to we had disagreement just a few days ago. It was a good one. You're going to have disagreements. Like these are going to be things you got to deal with, and you got to understand how to navigate these things. So, you got your financial stuff, you got your relationship stuff, you got your health stuff, right? We've got all of those things. Those are the major areas: health, financial, and relationships. Those are the three categories that we have to understand, because if we don't understand all three, you might win the war, or you might go into the fight for your health and then lose the other two. Can't do that. We got to win the whole war. We got to win the whole war over all those things. That's why we got to know what we are fighting for, what is at stake. And here's what I realized at stake. my whole family, legacy, grandkids, greats, great greats, and beyond. What happens to them is at stake right now. If I don't solve the health, the wealth, and the relational fights, war, well, I'll just call that the whole war. If I don't solve it, their lives are at stake. Because Jared, Jacob, and whoever comes after them, they may not experience what they should experience, should I decide to win this war. So the fight, knowing why I'm going to go into this fight, is everything. Because once I know why I'm going to go and what's at stake, and I get into the battle, and I'm constantly going at it, it's going to help me to understand once, as I'm battling health, these health issues, as I'm battling these financial issues, as I'm battling the relationship stuff, it's going to help me to build character. It's going to help me to build courage. It's going to help me to stay in my creativity. Like, it's going to help me to concentrate more. It's going to help me to become more and more and more certain about who I am. It's going to help me do all those things. But here's the principle where all those things stand on. All of those things: concentration, creativity, certainty, courage, character. There's one last one. That's not coming to mind. It's so funny. They all stand on change. Because without making the change, none of those things are possible. Without making the change, their lives are at stake. Without making the change, I don't know, my life literally be the same life of those who came before me. I was thinking about Willie and Nellie Moore, which I do just about every day. 60 years of marriage this week would have been their anniversary. And as I think about them, and I think about the fact that, they wanted to have the best life. They had a good life. They wanted the best life. Didn't have all the tools. They didn't understand the new tools that came about. But they had offspring who could change everything. I'm taking what they left and turning it into something else. So what did they leave me with? Here's what they left me with. They left me with a level of faith that can move mountains. Can move a mountain even in times when they're uncertain. So as we think about winning the battle, we gotta really understand why we're fighting. What are we fighting for? How will you discover your fight? Easily. Here's how you easily discover what you're fighting for. Look at all your circumstances. Look at all your circumstances, and I'm in the negative ones, the things that you don't like. Every single one of them. You got to pinpoint health, you got to pinpoint finance, and you got to pinpoint relationships. When you pinpoint the issues, the circumstances that you are dealing with, that's what you're fighting for, because you have to win the battle against those things so that you can win the war. But we will always be in the fight. You will always be in the fight. The wars will change. How you fight the battles will change. We got to get through the first level. The first level. So what is your first level fight? Write those down today. The first level. This is what I'm fighting for, right? This is what's at stake. And you got to be willing to go in, because remember, the enemy is right there listening to you. The enemy is watching you write down your objectives and your dreams. The enemy is paying attention to everything that you're saying, everything that you're thinking. The enemy is right there. And the enemy is like, you ain't doing none of that, because I don't want you to do it, because I'm scared to do that. That's not something I've ever done. I don't have no experience doing that. I saw something that really hit me this morning as I was working out, stretching. And it said, man, the individual that was talking, she says that the reason why she wasn't where she needed to be had nothing to do with her skills. She said she realized she was hiding. She was afraid. She had not put herself out there to be found. And I realized, I says, wow, the enemy in my own life had me hiding from me. So I want you to do this with me. Make a decision today with me. And you won't hide. And you will accept the responsibility of the purpose for which God has created you. Your job is to know what you are fighting for, so that when you get into the battle, you'll be able to sustain when you get hit and when you get knocked down. Because I'm going to tell you, see, getting knocked down is like, I got knocked down, I got punched out in January, in February, in March. Both parents, I felt it coming. It was so weird, because in September 2024, my mom went to the hospital for the first time, and my dad, he's not doing well. And then December of 2024, then all of a sudden it just seemed like everything was speeding up, and then it was like, I got you now. The enemy came looking to devour. Now, here's the thing about the enemy. There's an inside enemy and there's an outside enemy. The outside is what controls circumstances. The inside is what is looking to control you. So that's why you've got to master controlling you. When you control you, when the circumstance comes, both parents are dead. Oh, you should be grieving. Oh man, I'm on assignment today. I'm moving forward today. So winning that battle just simply comes down to knowing what you're fighting for and being willing to allow those battles to come. Because ultimately, you're looking to win the war. And when you win the war, know that you got to stay in the fight, because the battle is coming back. They're going to regroup. There's going to be a regrouping. So that's why it never ends. And I'm going to end here, because I think you get the point that winning the battle against your enemy is to accept the fight and know what you're fighting for. So guys, I hope you got value today from this program. If you did, be sure to comment, subscribe, or like this video wherever you're watching it, wherever you're listening to it. Share it with someone else. Share it with your community if this resonates with you. This podcast is specifically for faith, men and women of faith, who are really, really, really looking to uplevel their faith, fitness, and their finances, ultimately to live out their purpose. And if that's you, look, stay tuned to this podcast station, because we will be here to support you all along the way. If you have not gotten the book, Next Level Faith, go ahead and grab that book. It's on Amazon. And I look forward to seeing you back here on the next video. God bless. See you soon.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.